Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. So we have been going through my favorites, certain aspects of the Criterion 2023 releases. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching to the very end. Those who are still here, so thank you very much for sticking around to the very end. I very much appreciate it. So now here's the final video in that series. I'd like to give you my top 10 overall favorite Criterion 2023 releases. So my top 10 overall favorites. So far we've been talking about my favorite essays or favorite supplements or favorite cover art designs or favorite re-releases. So somewhat specific categories. So now I'd like to open up the discussion a bit and just talk about overall favorites, my overall favorites, in top 10 favorites. And this list is my own, again, based on my own subjective experience. Your list might differ, and that's totally fine, that's totally okay. And then for me, just note once again that we've been going through, you and I, my dear friends, going through each of the releases since about 3 years or so, each release as it's been coming out. And that's also true for the releases in 2023. So all the releases, I think we've been discussing, you and I together. So taking a step back, thinking about everything that we've talked about, and just all the supplements, all the cover art designs, the films themselves, the overall feeling, everything just taken comprehensively. Taking a step back, looking at it, gathering my thoughts. At the end of the day, what do I feel? And that's how I came up with my top 10 favorite overall favorites from Criterion from this year, 2023. So my 10 favorites. So here we go. Let's without further ado, let's start. My number 10 favorite release from Criterion in 2023, and it's this film, which is from 2022. The filmmaker is Louis Garrel, and it's this, The Innocent. So technically speaking, this is not a Criterion Collection spine-numbered release. I get it. It is a Janus Contemporaries release, yes, which is a new subline related to Criterion, Janus Films, the Criterion channel. But it is still, in that way, Criterion Collection relevant. And so I think it's okay, at least from my perspective, to include it in the list of favorites in the Criterion Collection from 2023. My number 10 favorite is this Blu-ray, The Innocent. I love this film. I love this film from start to finish. Surprising, heartwarming, very clever homage to crime capers, 70s De Palma, film within a film or play within a play, and wonderful, touching moments of humor, comedy, and romance to boot. So what a great surprise this was for me this year. My number 10 favorite release, Criterion related release. My number 10 favorite is The Innocent. So Louis Garrel's The Innocent, number 10. Number 9 favorite release from Criterion, and this is a release which is spine number 1187, and the name of the filmmaker is Carl Franklin. One False Move. One False Move is just one of those. It's one of those films that's, you watch it, you can never unwatch it. It grabs you, and it's got this labyrinthine plot. It's terrifying. It's a journey film. It's almost a subversion on the journey film, going from one part of the country to another part of the country, and that holding the link to, or the key to, unlocking the mystery and the secrets of the film, as well as being a crime thriller. It is a human drama, and the performances are just outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton and Cindy Williams. Oh, it's just a total acting tour de force package from start to finish, and under the guidance of Carl Franklin, the direction of Carl Franklin, Michael Beach and Billy Bob Thornton, also providing great performances. It's just overall, oh my goodness, just a classic film, 90s noir crime film. It's frightening, chilling, and it's great mystery film from start to finish. I love this film. I'm so glad it's included in the Criterion Collection. So my number 9 favorite film is One False Move. What a great film this is. Number 9, Criterion release. Number 8, and here's a film that we've spoken a little bit about in previous discussions, but here is Spy Number 1198, film 1973. The filmmaker is Martin Scorsese. Mean Streets. I think the overall, I think this release is a very strong release. Some great supplements, interesting commentary track consideration that we spoke a little bit about before. We're talking about the film. And I mentioned it before, I'll say it again, that I think the restoration presentation does wonders, and it just really enhances the viewing experience I have of this more and more and more the more I think about it. And then the film itself, one of the key films of the 1970s, American independent cinema, one of the key films of one of the key filmmakers of the ages, and for good reason. And it's still got that electricity and that fire, and it has that heat, the feeling of hell, and in the day-to-day. And so, and it's with the performances such as Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. This is an all-time classic. So my number 8 favorite overall release from Criterion this year in 2023 is their release of Mean Streets, my number 8. Number 7 favorite release, and this is a release which is a Blu-ray edition release, and it's the Spy Number 1175 from the year 2006. The filmmaker is David Lynch. Inland Empire. So this is a very solid release of one of, I think, the most enigmatic works of one of the most powerful and brilliant filmmakers of the age, is David Lynch. And even within the folds of this release and the supplements, there are so many details that just make this even more Lynchian to my eyes and to my ears. The name Jeremy alone will forever be part of my Lynch consciousness when I think about Inland Empire, and it's thanks, I think, in part to my engagement with this Criterion release. Not to mention the film itself. It's one of the most frightening WTF types of films, and its mysteries don't get unlocked easily, but I think that's part of the point. And we're meant, I think, to struggle with it. I think we're meant to wrestle with it. That's part of the fun of watching a David Lynch film, to see what happens at the end of the day upon wrestling with the film. And it can be thought-provoking, it can be exhausting, it can be wearisome, it could also be enlightening and emboldening, and a truly one-of-a-kind experience. And I think that's all true when watching this film, Inland Empire, especially in the context of this Criterion release. So I love this. This is great. My number 7 favorite release from Criterion this year is Inland Empire. This brings us to number 6, my number 6 favorite release. And it is this release, which is here. The Pasolini 101 set. I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This taught me so much about the 60s work of Pasolini and the life and times of Pasolini, and gave me new lease on watching and regarding his films. And the catalog of his films here, they are difficult. They're challenging, as I've mentioned before. They're also, I was struck in particular about how much I felt, more than I'd ever felt before, perhaps, how much I'd felt that his films, now upon viewing them in the context of this Criterion set, how humane they are, how much of a caring eye his cinema lens has for his subjects, for his characters. And there is a warmth and beauty and grace given to the people that he's talking to in maybe some of the documentaries that we see featured, or even in the subject matter of the narrative films that he is also engaged with. So this, I think, is so important in a kind of a full journey in the context of Pasolini films. Now, I'm not at all a Pasolini expert, so therefore sets like this for me and my own limited expertise in the world of Pasolini make for even more compelling viewing. So I'm overall just so thrilled with this set, and I'm very impressed with this. This came around the midway point of the year, and it's been I think it's one of the classics. So my number 6 favorite overall release from Criterion, this set, Pasolini 101. Now we are down to the final 5, the top 5, my 5 favorite Criterion releases from this year, 2022. So what could they be? What could they be? Yes, are you on the edge of your seat or not? So again, I hope this list is okay. I think I've looked at this again, and I'm okay with this list. I'm okay with the list so far, and I'm okay with the final 5 here. So let's go with my number 5 favorite release from this year, and this is a film that is at spine number 1199. And it's a film from 1995, and it is from Claude Chabrol. La Cérémonie. La Cérémonie is one of my favorite films from the 90s, and I watch it now that I have this Criterion release. I watch it even more, and I realize just how genius it is. This is a very subversive film, and it's a no holds barred film. This is a very intense watch, and I know that this film. I understand this film has been made available maybe elsewhere outside of Criterion, but for me, having this on the Criterion release, at long last in my own physical media collection, now is for me a great thing. I will never, I will always be able to revisit this film. It is tense. It is filled with brilliant performances. It is ruthless, and it is funny, and it is a great mind warp. It is a great, let me use the phrase again, WTF. It is also very twisted and very dark, and using elements of cinema that cut to the very heart. And the inclusion of some of the supplements here, I think, give a full round discussion of this. Granted, I understand, right? The supplements may have been carried over for the most part from other non-Criterion releases, so I acknowledge that. But as an overall experience, and as an overall take, and as an overall film, plus the engagement with this, courtesy of this release from Criterion, I'm sold. So my number 5 favorite Criterion release overall from this year is the Claude Chabrol film, La Cérémonie. Oh, this is so great. My number 5 favorite. Okay, number 4. And this is a set, multi-disc set, spine number 1194. The filmmaker is Todd Browning. Number 4, my favorite overall release, Todd Browning's Sideshow Shockers. I thought long and hard about this, and I think, yes, the inclusion of the mystic is like it's its own celebration. And watching that film with the optional new musical track as well, it was revelatory, I think, in a lot of ways for me, and it continued my own Todd Browning journey, which I admit to, for me, I'm not at all a Todd Browning cinema expert in the slightest, but I enjoyed that watch thoroughly, and also the rewatches of the other films, and giving an overall picture of the Todd Browning aesthetic based on these three films. Notwithstanding the fact that his filmography is vast, but you get a real great sense of Todd Browning's aesthetic, I think, when watching these three films as a representative of the larger whole, plus giving great guidance in terms of great storytelling and the great soap opera aesthetic, which he also applies, together with showcasing the idea of art and theatricality with what lies beneath, what peeling back behind the curtain, and then giving us one of the most controversial and unforgettable Hollywood films of all time in the form of Freaks. It is still very, very powerful indeed. So we get it all here in this wonderful overall package. My number 4 favorite release from Criterion is Todd Browning's Sideshow Shockers, number 4. Down to the final 3. Okay. My number 3 favorite Criterion release is for a film that's by number 549, but as we've discussed, there is another film that's included. Peter Bogdanovich's film, The Last Picture Show from 1971, plus Texasville. Now, I think for me, The Last Picture Show, and I said it before, I'll say it again, it's one of the great American cinema classics of the 20th century. It's a great coming-of-age film. It's a great comedy. It's this lovely, warm, heartbreaking human drama with some of the most legendary performances. So that alone is worth the price of admission. But you also have Texasville. Let me say that again. You also have Texasville. I can't stress enough just how important I think that inclusion is, and also the ability to be able to revisit Texasville in the context of The Last Picture Show in this 2-for-1 release. You get 2 for the price of 1. Or if you consider the different versions of Texasville, I mean, you can say you get 2.5 or even 3 for the price of 1, because they're kind of different films in a manner speaking. The 2 versions of Texasville. I mean, but let's say 2 films for the price of 1. Let's put it that way. That is a big deal. I think that's a big deal. And to get the opportunity to reappraise and reassess Texasville for those who are in the position to do so, or to watch Texasville for the first time, it's a similar film from Last Picture Show, but it's very different as well. And I love that. I love that. And there's also what I'd never realized until this release was how close these films are. And I'm speaking of Texasville and The Last Picture Show. How close the making of these films are to the actual lives of the people that are participating in these films. I'm speaking of people like Timothy Bottoms, Cloris Leachman, and Eileen Brennan, and Peter Bogdanovich and Sybil Shepherd, Jeff Bridges. I mean, take it as an example. The professional and personal relationship between Sybil Shepherd and Peter Bogdanovich, and how that was very much part of and also behind the scenes, very, very directly so, in the context of the making of The Last Picture Show, thus making The Last Picture Show in many ways a type of photo album of their lives at that very intense, personally intense moment of their lives. And they both acknowledge this. So watching a film that has so many personal connections as the film was being made makes it itself a very personal thing. And you combine that with the same type of intense personal connectedness with a film like The Making of Texasville. Plus combining with that the passage of years, and the same people after all this time have come together with everything that has transpired between and among them since this, both professionally and personally. They're coming back together again to make Texasville. So it is, what a big deal this is, and I'm so impacted by that. It is wow. I mean, yeah, my number 3 favorite Criterion release. I'm sorry, I'm going overboard here. I apologize. I'll stop myself here, control myself, and say my number 3 favorite Criterion release is The Last Picture Show and Texasville, all in one package. So please check it out if you can. My number 3 favorite. All right. Number 2. My number 2 favorite Criterion release. And I was thinking, again, back on all the films that I was watching from Criterion in 2023, all the releases I was talking about, and I had another kind of criteria in my head, which was I was looking about what were the films that I just could not get out of my mind. I'd seen them, and I'd seen them in the Criterion context. Maybe I was rewatching them in the Criterion context, but maybe in that process, I just could not get them out of my mind. They haunted me. They haunted me. They hooked themselves into some place proverbially into my heart, and they just couldn't. They would not let go. And even now, I'm thinking about it. I'm haunted. I've rewatched them periodically since their initial release over the months, and they're still there. They're haunting me. What films fall in that category? Well, I can give you examples of that for my number 2 favorite Criterion release, and it's this: Spy Number 1172. India Song and Baxter Vera Baxter. So these are 2 films by Marguerite Duras. And you're getting, again, 2 films for the price of 1, again, in a manner of speaking. So this is great. India Song and Baxter Vera Baxter, they are similar yet different. There is almost a stream of consciousness type of approach to this, which I think makes it utterly personal and therefore so universally accessible in the fact that one, I think, can approach it in a way that suits one in terms of one's own preferred interpretation, which I think is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Talk about the past and relationships and maybe the misfortune of miscommunication and the ability to communicate or lack thereof, and the envelopment of layer upon layer upon layer, using technique and style almost as a kind of fog, as well as a way in, as a manner of speaking. There is an elliptical nature to this is very mysterious, very elusive, but I think that elusive quality makes for very strong and compelling viewing indeed. It's one of those films, or these films in their own way, India Song and Baxter, Vera Baxter, again, you watch them and it won't let go. It really won't let go. And there's a rhythm, a beat, a pulse to it, like a human beat type of pulse to it, in terms of how music is employed or how rhythm and speech is employed, are employed. And you realize that you are watching something that might be described on the one hand as being a type of literary experience on the one hand, in terms of a reliance on, say, dialogue and positioning. But these are, and that's, I think, a great trait, a great strength of these films. But I think ultimately they are utterly, utterly cinematic. These are truly some of the great cinematic expressions. And Marguerite Duras, and the sort of the scope and story and the non-linear nature of them, which makes them even more compelling, dreamlike or nightmarish, perhaps, in a manner of speaking. I think these are among the finest films, and I was so thrilled to hear that they would be coming to the Criterion Collection in this way. I mean, I might have mentioned it in my discussion of these in the separate videos earlier in the year. There might be some critiques I might have of this release overall, but that doesn't take away from the overall power of these films being included in this way. This is a great release of 2 incredible, powerful films. If you have the chance to watch either of these films, I encourage you, please give them a try. Please give them a try. They might not be for everyone. Maybe they might not be, they might not, you might not be, they might not be your cup of tea, let's put it that way, upon first viewing. But maybe, if it's okay, try them again in a couple months. I don't know. Oh, that would make me so happy. That these films are getting more and more visibility, at least a little bit. That would make me so happy indeed. If you have the opportunity, please check out one or both of these films. So it's this release, my number 2 favorite from Criterion this year. So India Song and Baxter Vera Baxter, 2 films by Marguerite Duras. And my number 2 favorite release. I love this. Okay, so my number 1 favorite Criterion release from 2023. So on the one hand, this was a kind of difficult choice for me to make, but on the other hand, when I thought about it, one title seemed to be coming up a lot. And I think maybe, again, overall favorites, there can be a lot of subjective criteria, a lot of feeling that goes into it, and a lot of maybe how it made me feel, how I feel about the film. And I think that's all fair. Those are fair, but also how this release really made me or allowed me or permitted me to make me love this film even more and get to know a little bit of the filmmaker, hear the filmmaker's voice, and get a sense of knowing the filmmaker even more and loving what this filmmaker seems to be representing in terms of the comments and what the idea that is then, or the ideas that are then conjured up in my mind. It then feeds into my love of the film even more, and thus I think it makes for the idea that this film, yes, my favorite Criterion release from 2023. Yeah, 1173, Spy Number 1173. And this is a film from 1987. The filmmaker is Robert Townsend. My number one favorite Criterion release from 2023 is this release for the film Hollywood Shuffle. I love this film. I absolutely love this film. And the Criterion release made me realize how much I love this film and made me love it even more. And again, I've mentioned it before, but very briefly, getting to know a little bit of Robert Townsend, the artist, the Renaissance artist that Robert Townsend is, it's amazing. And also the breadth and scope of this work. It's this kind of sketch comedy dynamic, which is still works so well, and it's so on point, and it's relevant, and it has a certain currency that it's very much relevant even in today's watching. And it's very funny, very clever, and it has, and the earnestness of Robert Townsend and the way he speaks in his comments, again, so inviting, so warm, so positive, that just makes me love this film all the more. And I think this is it's such a great feat of filmmaking. What an inspirational story this is, to understand what the story. That was another thing too that I didn't quite realize until this Criterion release as well, which is the amount of effort and the what went into making this. It wasn't an easy thing to make this film. It was a big deal. It was a very hard thing to make this film. So it's in many ways kind of the ultimate independent film. And that's kind of story being made available through discussions of this, documentaries, behind the scenes of Hollywood Shuffle, again, as included as part of the Criterion release. This is part of the amazing story of Hollywood Shuffle, and the part of the amazing story of the artist Robert Townsend. What an amazing journey. Absolutely amazing journey. This gets my I am in awe of this. I'm so much in awe of this. I respect the efforts that went into making this film so much, and it's so funny, it's so entertaining, and very clever and very witty, very biting as well. And it's done in a way that's also tongue-in-cheek. It's doing it in a sly, indirect way. So it's still, so it has a room for multiple interpretations. And that's the stuff that makes films, I think, very like Hollywood Shuffle, so rewatchable, so endearing, and so on point. Therefore, this is my number one favorite film, favorite release from Criterion in 2023, Robert Townsend's classic film, Hollywood Shuffle. So well done. This is I'm so thrilled with this. So very happy with this. My number one favorite Criterion release. And again, it's a Blu-ray edition. So maybe in the grand scheme of these 4K combo deluxe, right? There's nothing wrong with having great packaging, great digipacks and all that. And there have been some great ones. But there's just something about this that just really sings to me, really does. And I'm so thrilled to have been able to engage with this release, and to have the ability to know more about it. It's just to know the breadth of the artistry behind this, as well as being utterly entertained time and time again, and which I hope to continue for until I die, as long as I have this in my collection. So yeah, Hollywood Shuffle. check it out if you haven't already. All right, so is that it? I think that's it. Yes. Did I miss anything? I hope not. If I did, then I apologize, but if not, then let's end it there. So now I'm looking at my clock, and we have only a few hours left till the end of the day. So it's cutting it close, but yes, thank you so much, my dear friends, for sticking around. Thank you. This has been quite an honor, quite a journey, and I hope to continue this journey with you next year, 2024, starting tomorrow. Yes, so, but not quite the end of the year for me, almost there. So whenever this video meets you, if it's not quite the end of the year yet, then I hope you enjoy the rest of your 2023. Or if this video, my dear friends, is meeting you and it is already the start of your 2024, I sincerely hope that your 2024 is off to a fine start indeed, my dear friends, and that it continues for the entire run of the next 12 months, because you deserve it. You really do. So thank you so much, my dear friends, for putting up with me and for just joining in and expressing an interest in what it is I might have to think or say about a given topic. I apologize if my comments and my discussion points have been blah or underwhelming and the like. I really much apologize for that. But I hope that at the very least, I hope that it's coming through. That at the very least, at the very end of the day, these titles have always brought me some feelings of joy, or giving me some room to think about new things or to consider new things that I might not have otherwise thought about prior to watching the film. So I've always tried to get something out of each of the films I watch, and I think for me, Criterion's releases have in one form or another done that. I've always tried to express the reasons why I feel that way. And so I hope to be able to continue that journey and discussion with you in 2024. But until then, my dear friends, again, for those of you for whom 2023 is not quite over yet, I hope you enjoy your final hours of 2023. And for those of you whose 2024 has already begun, Happy New Year. And I look forward, hopefully, to seeing you again at the next video. I hope you can join me there, because I plan to, fingers crossed, keep on going with this YouTube thing as long as I can. So if you're interested and if you want to stop by this channel again, my dear friends, you are always welcome. So please stop by whenever you have a chance. I would very much love to see you at the next video. But in any event, my dear friends, whatever the case may be, if I'm going to see you again, or if now is the last time we will see each other, whatever the case may be, I truly hope that all is well with you and your family and friends and loved ones. Truly, that is the most important treasure. Very important. And especially with all the stuff that's happening in the world right now, that is the importance of that treasure, I think, becomes even more evident. And so please take very good care of yourselves, and I hope all is well, or as well as can be. And once you've taken good care of yourselves, my dear friends, and you have taken care of your family and friends and loved ones, your treasure, once you've taken care of all those important things in your life, yes, please keep on watching a lot of great movies. That's the thing, right? That's the thing that brings us all together. Our love, our mutual love of this wonderful thing, which we call cinema. So, thank you so much for allowing me to be a little bit part of your cinema journey and sharing with me a little bit of your cinema journey. It's been a real honor for me to know you, and I very much hope that such opportunities for me continue to get to know a little bit about you and your own cinema journeys and your likes and dislikes and your favorite films and the like. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about for me. So, but my dear friends, enough talk from me. Please enjoy yourself. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you hopefully at the next one. Until then, my dear friends, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. Happy New Year. Cheers.